welcome to another episode of Fish Fab. Before we start talking about the Impreza, I just wanted to say thank you to all the people who subscribed to the channel. I really appreciate that, and the comments, you know, really good motivation. So it makes me want to carry on filming and carry on the progress with the Impreza. So thank you, I appreciate that ever so much. But now we've got a bit of the YouTube stuff out of the way, let's talk about the Impreza behind me. So as you can see from there, hopefully you can see it's blue and it's all Raptored. Now unfortunately I have sort of broke my camera, which is why I've lost some of the footage. So I'm going to try and make this video probably more of an update to tell you where I'm up to, rather than, unfortunately, I usually like trying some sort of film some sort of progression so you can see what I'm doing. But you know, unfortunately I had one of those moments when I was just starting to spray the car, pulled the gun in underneath the car, and the airline's a bit stuck, so you know, being impatient. So I pulled the camera off the stand and it smashed the lens. So obviously that's why there's nothing on the spraying of the Raptor, and there's nothing on the work we've done afterwards. So this is going to be a quick update, a few photographs that I took to show you where we're at, and it's basically just a quick update. And then now I've got a lens back in the camera, obviously, because you can see me, that we'll now be able to film the next episode, and hopefully you'll have a bit more progress work rather than just a load of me telling you what I've done, which is obviously probably not what you want to watch. So I apologise, but my impatience broke the camera, so that one's on me. So right, let's have a look at the car. Right, so I just wanted to go through a few things that I did with the Raptor. Because Raptor is such a thick product, all the suspension mounting places where it attached to the body, I wanted to make sure that I masked them out so it didn't affect the geometry of the car. I also was a bit concerned whether, if I had put a bracket on with sandwiching Raptor in between, torqued up the bolts, let's just say that it probably won't, but let's say it deteriorates the rubber, which is the Raptor deteriorates, suddenly that bolt's going to come loose in my mind. So what I've done is I thought, well, Subaru did it when it was manufactured. Before we started it, everywhere where the suspension points went, all there was primer, and then all their sort of sealant was around that. So I thought, well, they've done it, I'm going to do it. So what I've done is I've basically put all of the bits on that have been, we've got some back from powder coating, and you'll see it hopefully in this clip. Put it on, draw around it with a bit of pencil, mask it up, so then when we put the Raptor on, all the bits that are masked off obviously will still be protected by the epoxy primer, but what we will do is end up with hopefully a happy medium between rust protection and obviously functionality. The car has to drive nicely at the end of the road, and it wants to be right. So we're masking these bits off to make sure we can get the geometry of the car right at the end, and we don't have any issues longevity wise. We maybe a slight deterioration or even shrinkage of the rubber as it cures, and a bolt coming loose. That's my thinking. I might be wrong. Raptor might be 100% fine to bolt onto, but I've got a little feeling. So we're going to do it like that. Subaru did it like that, we're doing it like that. So that's pretty much where we are with that. Right, I just wanted to show you the picture of this. So this is basically, the gearbox is back in after the clutch change. We've cleaned the gearbox up, and we've also put the little subframe back in, and that's all been painted or powder coated. And just wanted to show you how nice that is looking at the minute. So we're really chuffed with that. So it can kind of give you an idea of what the overall project and the standard we're looking at. Yes, I can understand, you know, the bolts are not, you know, top spec, but how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? So we might change them out for brand new ones from Subaru, but we might see if there's some better use of our money somewhere else on the project. So, but all the gear linkages are being cleaned as best we can. We've also got, I don't know if you can see that, we've got a brand new bush in the back, and we've also got, I believe you can't get hold of these stock anymore, so this one is actually a polyurethane in that one, but this is all completely back together and ready to go. So it'll give you an idea of what's coming. Right, I just wanted to take a minute of how impressed I am with this Raptor stuff. It's a U-Pole product and it's tintable, the one we bought. So the colour is using the same paint as what you would use to paint the car. And obviously you can, I think it's 100ml goes into a sort of litre tub. So it's not a massive amount, but it tints it. So you can probably see on the camera, this is quite blue. The only thing that's a bit odd with it is that in some lights it's near bang on the same colour as a car. In other lights it goes a much darker shade of blue, and in sometimes I've took photographs of it and it's gone completely white and silver. Now I don't know whether that's because when it's tinted, it is tinted, it's like a whitish like solution, probably ready for you to put the colour into it, and I don't know whether that is slightly translucent, so different lights you tend to get a different shade. But overall I'm really happy with it. I think the blue and then all the black components that are being powder coated and the silverware, as in the diff and the drive shafts and the gearbox and that are going to be silver, I think it's going to look really nice underneath. It is going to hopefully be a factory or slightly better than factory look. But yeah, going back to this Raptor stuff, so impressed with it. When I finished painting it, I had about, I don't know, 10ml of it in the bottom of the pot. And obviously when I come back the next day, have a look at how it all looked, really impressed with how it looked. I had this little sort of wedge in the bottom of the cup and I thought I'll get it out. Now normally most products you can bend them in half, and even though they go hard on the car like top coat and paint and lacquer and all that lot, this was like a bit of rubber. Perfect piece of rubber, and you could bend it and you could pull it and you could do what you like and it would not crack, even though it was probably 10ml thick. It was like a hockey puck. It was so impressive. It really did make you think, right, this is the right product, because it is solid rubber and it's going to do, I think, a fantastic job in the car. So that was really good. And obviously it was really sort of nice to see that it had gone off in the bottom of the cup, because if it's gone off in the bottom of the cup, it's probably gone off in the bottom of the car. So that's also good for sort of enhancing the confidence that you've done a good job. So yeah, I'm just going to say I was really super impressed with this product. I do think we've gone the right way, and I love how it looks. So I do think that's good. So I think that's a thumbs up for Raptor on the next project. A few little things that I could have learned, maybe probably put a little bit more thinners in it and try and smooth it out. I know I might lose on the actual durability of the finish. From what I've read on U-Pole's website, the more thinners you put in, the thinner the coat is, and then obviously you lose a bit of durability. But we're not off-roading on it. These are not going to be driven, the cars like this, they're not going to be driven out in the snow and the salt and all that lot anymore. So they have got an easier life. So maybe next time if I do something similar, put a little bit more thinners in, get a smoother finish on it, and overall it will just, I think, look a little bit better. But this is still good, really happy with it, so chuffed. So that's basically it really. So this is Raptored. After Raptoring, I basically got, the next bit I got ready was the fuel tank. Fuel tank is the same process as everything else that I've done. So it will be, strip it right down to its bare components. Obviously block up the holes where the fuel is, because obviously where the sensors and all that lot will come out, because you really don't want to fill the tank full of this rubberized textured surface or anything that goes in. Yes, you can try and clean them out afterwards, but it's much easier to keep them clean in the first place, and then you haven't got to clean them out. So bung up all the holes, grind it to within an inch's life, make it as clean as you humanly possibly can, hang it up, prime it, and we primed it in the, because I had some left of the Raptor epoxy primer, so I've used that because obviously it's got the rust inhibitor in it, so I'm hoping that's going to help a little bit out for its longevity. And then we gave it a coat of epoxy black, so that's the end result of the tank. So the tank's looking really good, so that's all ready to go back in the car. The other bit that we did was we've put the gearbox in and changed the clutch. I haven't filmed any of this, it was a sort of a last minute decision. We left it where the gearbox and the engine was left in place, and we made a decision right at the end, look, we ought to check the clutch. And the owner, Paul, said, yeah, I think we ought to take it out, make sure everything's all right. He reckons it was slipping, so I said, well, it's a couple more bolts, let's get it in, let's get it out. So I'll show you the flywheel. As you can see, this is well worn. This should have little raised pads, and you can see that this is completely worn all the raised pads off, and we're now down to almost smooth. So you can see there, so that's a sign that the clutch was our way out. It would have been lovely to have the new friction plate with you, but unfortunately I've already put that in. And then you can see the pressure plate, you can see all the heat marks where it's all been slipping, it's got too hot. So that's got a new one of those in. And then also we decided to change the flywheel at the same time, because this is basically had the same process where it's got that hot, it's changed colour. So that's what we've changed them 3 bits for. So we've, instead of going anything fancy or anything aftermarket, we decided that it's a stock car, stock mode to stock power. So we're going to use the Subaru parts, and there's no reason why. It's done 70 odd thousand with the clutch plate and stuff. There's no reason why it won't do another 70,000. So we're keeping it stock, keeping it all genuine. So that's all in. Oh, and we've also fitted a new thrust bearing as well. So we've done the complete change of everything to give it that longevity and hopefully that security that when we get it all back on the road, we're not taking it apart again. So it was the right move to make, that we changed it, so that's out of the way. But that's another one where unfortunately we decided, or I decided really, was rather than film it, let's just get it done. It's quite a well documented task. Take the clutch out, change all the clutch over, put the gearbox back in. So I just wanted to show you that was, and then you're pretty much up to where we are now. So the car is epoxied, fuel tank's ready to go back in, the gearbox has been out, new clutch in, and the new the gearbox has been put back in. So that is where we're up to now, and that is where I'm going to leave the end of this episode. So that is where we're up to. So thank you for watching, appreciated it if you've subscribed, and hope you've enjoyed this one, and we'll see you on the next one. And I promise I'll try and do a much better filming job than telling you what I've done last time. But thank you very much, take care, see you again.